Hello and welcome to Monday's programme.
Your headlines tonight. The first ban in 50 years. One of our biggest water companies tells its 1.4 million customers not to use their hose pipes.
It's not a decision that we take lightly to introduce a hosepipe ban, and we appreciate it does have an impact on our customers. But it's something we've had to do to maintain that supply and protect supply to the customers as well.
The importance of getting vaccinated. The sister of a teenage boy from Bristol who died after contracting meningitis is urging students to take up the free vaccine.
Losing business and risking jobs. Traders in a part of Gloucester say their livelihoods are under threat because of ongoing roadworks.
And although it still felt pretty warm, pretty humid out there today, we have got a few changes afoot as we head through the rest of this week. Stay tuned to find out more.
Good evening. First tonight, Wessex Water, the company which provides water for 1.4 million customers in our region, has announced a temporary hosepipe ban for the first time in 50 years.
Yes, it comes after months of unprecedented dry weather and after demand increased by 30%.
Well, it means people in Bath, Somerset, Dorset and Wiltshire face restrictions from midnight tonight.
Well, in a moment, we'll cross live to Louisa Britton at a Wessex Water reservoir near Yeovil.
And we'll also tell you what the ban means for you. But first, Richard Payne has been speaking to the company and finding out what people in Bath think about this ban.
The warnings have been coming for weeks, and from a minute after midnight, water restrictions will be legally enforceable in the Wessex area. It won't apply to their commercial customers, but at this garden centre in Bath, they're warning domestic users of what's to come.
Huge impact on me and my garden, definitely. And I grew up in Australia, so drought is something we're used to. Wessex Water, shame on them, because they just let everything leak.
I've just been using grey water on my potted plants up to now, so I think it's good that it's coming in.
Just manage with water, from the bath, and anything I can catch.
With more hot weather on the horizon, the ban will remain until significant rainfall returns. But, say the experts, we may have to get used to such limitations.
We get a lot of questions which are, what can we do to future-proof our gardens? What are we going to have that, instead of buying it once for a one-off colour, buying a plant that will last for years to come, and if this is the way that it is, survive another dry summer.
Survival has been the key for months now, with swathes of agricultural land struggling to cope with hotter, drier conditions. The people whose job it is to keep what water we do have flowing say it's not about a lack of it for essential use, but getting it to where it's needed most.
Our customers are using water for various reasons, and certainly for essential usage like staying hydrated and hygiene purposes as well. But we understand that they're enjoying the water usage and maybe having things like paddling pools and trying to keep the grass green in the garden. But we're just trying to change some of those behaviours and reduce that impact.
There may be an accusation, fairly or not, that if you didn't have so many leaks, you'd store more water, and this is a problem that's actually brewed from last winter, where we had huge amounts of rainfall.
As the ground moves, the pipes below it move as well, and that causes them to crack and leak. But what we have done is increased our staff numbers on finding those leaks and fixing them as well. Just last month alone, we increased our find and fix rate by a third. But it's those small things that for us to do and for our customers to do as well to try and reduce that demand.
That demand is expected to remain high as the hot weather continues. But for the first time in half a century, Wessex customers have a hosepipe ban to cope with, and the risk of a £1,000 fine if they break it. Richard Payne, ITV News, Bath.
So I guess the question is, how will this ban affect you? Well, it means hose pipes and pressure washers should not be used to water gardens or allotments. You shouldn't fill paddling pools or swimming pools or clean vehicles, windows or any outdoor areas. But there are exemptions, and they include animal welfare, including pets, livestock and fish. And you can water food crops as well. And customers who cannot adjust hosepipe use because of a medical condition.
OK, good to know. Well, let's get more on this from Louisa Britton, who is live at Sutton Bingham Reservoir, which is near Yeovil, for us tonight. So, Louisa, how's it looking there?
Well, this reservoir, like you say, just south of Yeovil, at full capacity can hold around 2.1 billion litres of water. At the moment, it's at around half full, about 55% of that capacity. But these types of reservoirs actually form quite a small part of Wessex Water's network of supply. Most of its water comes from underground in what's called aquifers. Now, Wessex Water says that water levels at the moment across the board for them are around where they should be at this time of year, and the issue really that's brought about this hosepipe ban is more to do with customer demand, which they say has gone up at an unprecedented level. It's gone up around 30%. Now, that they say is even more so than the heatwave in 1976. And despite water supply not being so much of an issue, like these reservoirs not being particularly low, they say that it's the Victorian network of pipes that they've got, which is also causing issues of getting water from A to B. So it's making it difficult to get that supply where it's needed and quickly enough.
OK, Louisa, thank you so much for that. And I'm sure people will let us know their thoughts on the whole situation. Now, the sister of a teenage boy from Bristol who died after contracting meningitis say young people should take the free vaccine before university this summer.
George Zagrafu was celebrating his A-level results when he caught the disease. More than 1,800 people have taken up the vaccine in Bristol, but thousands more are eligible. Charlotte Gay reports.
18. Just turned 18 and with everything to look forward to. A carefree George Zagrafu went to Boardmasters with mates, but he came down ill very quickly, and it wasn't recognised in time that he had contracted meningitis B. Yesterday was the 9th anniversary of George's death.
So George was incredibly bright, handsome, he was sociable, and he was absolutely full of life. When we heard about the meningitis cases this year, it brought back so many memories, and it felt like we were back there with those families. It felt like it was happening to us all over again. We were incredibly devastated and affected by the students who lost their lives in Kent.
The Kent outbreak was unusual because of how quickly it spread, with 15 cases in 48 hours. So a vaccination programme was set up in direct response. Recently, lots of teenagers were partying, just like George did at Boardmasters, but awareness around the new free meningitis B vaccine for teenagers and how to get it was mixed.
We've been sent possibilities about a vaccine, but I haven't had anything yet.
Would you take a free vaccine if you could?
Well, if it's free, yeah. I don't want to get meningitis.
I don't see a reason. I haven't been ill for the first year or second year, so I shouldn't. Yeah, I don't see the reason.
We were going to pay for it, and then it came free off the NHS, and we all just did it.
Yeah, I had it a week ago.
I've spoken to people who are hesitant about it.
Yeah, so
they're like, oh, I'm not going to uni, I don't need it.
But it's not complicated to do, it's really simple.
Anyone under 25 heading to university for the first time can get the vaccine, but the primary focus is on 17 to 18-year-olds. More than 10,000 vaccines have been delivered across the wider southwest, but there are still lots of people not booking appointments.
Our youngsters, our sort of like 13 and below year olds, they're all fine. They were all given meningitis B as children, so they've got that cover. It's the group over the next 5 years who are turning sort of 17 and going off to university. They're the ones who've missed out, and it is the meningitis B particularly that we want to make sure that they have.
Nicole has made public health her life's work in order to prevent others dying like her little brother George.
When you're younger, you feel invincible, and you don't think something like this could affect you, and meningitis can affect anybody, and it can affect people very, very quickly, and it's a very serious illness. And if you have a vaccine available to you that's free, that families have been fighting for years, then there's no need to take that risk.
It takes 6 weeks to be protected by this vaccine, hopefully a small number compared to the rest of your life. Charlotte Gay, ITV News.
Let's talk to Dr. Tom Nutt now, who's the CEO at Meningitis Now, a charity who looks after families like George's. Now, I looked at some of the data you provided today, and around 10,000 people have taken up the vaccine. But there's thousands who haven't. Why is that?
Well, I think for some this will be a question of practicalities, because of course this is a vaccine programme that's only launched in the last sort of month or so. So people are still finding out about it, which is why it's great to be able to be on your programme tonight. For some, I guess it's a practical question as well of how you get yourself booked in at a local pharmacy. But as Nicole herself says in the report, you know, of course young people often consider themselves bomb-proof, so it really is a question of, you know, persuading them to get down to a local pharmacy and get this potentially life-saving vaccine.
And we don't want to see scenes like we saw in Kent, do we, where of course there was an outbreak and suddenly there were queues of people who were trying to get the vaccine. So who is eligible and what should they do?
So the current NHS vaccination programme for Men B is available to those people who are leaving school this summer, leaving year 13. So they'll be 17 and 18-year-olds, but also people who are going off to university or college in a residential setting for the first time, and those people can be up to the age of 25. So that's the two main criteria.
Simple. It sounds simple to avoid a lot of heartbreak, doesn't it? Mm.
Absolutely, that's right. I mean, meningitis, as you've just seen from George's case, is absolutely devastating. It can kill within 24 hours or less, and it affects healthy young people. I mean, anyone at any age, but you know, you don't have a predisposition to meningitis. It can strike at any time. So a simple vaccination that's safe and effective can do the job and help protect you.
Exactly. So if you think that could be you that's eligible, look it up. There's loads of information out there and get it done. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Doctor.
Thank you.
Now, traders who live along the route of the A40 in Gloucester, which is undergoing roadworks for 9 months, have been meeting with their local MP.
Yes, they discussed the way the work to fix the bridge is harming their businesses and asked for more help. Ken Goodwin reports.
The A40, a main road to and from Gloucester and the Forest of Dean. Even on normal days, it can be snarled up with traffic. But with 9 months of engineering work so that this bridge can be repaired, it is, say traders along the route, playing havoc with their businesses.
40% down week on week in the farm shop, and a slightly less but still significant reduction in the farm park. We are not recruiting for new roles that we were thinking we were going to, and we're not using our full complement of staff as we normally would. But yeah, redundancies at the moment have been avoided, thankfully.
Forest of Dean MP Matt Bishop has received so many complaints from his constituents that he's come to the Lock Keepers pub, which has been losing business because of the roadworks, to talk to those affected.
I think with the current contraflow now the contraflows in traffic, I'm told, I see it, I travel the road myself, is better. It's not good, but it's better than what it was. But I think in the beginning we could have had the bus lane opened, we could have looked at suspending all the traffic lights along the road for longer. There's many things we could have done. I raised all of them, and Highways did come back and challenge as to why they couldn't do that. But the next thing is businesses and emergency vehicles. We have to make sure those vehicles can get in and out safely.
The pub has accommodation and the owner says that the new contraflow is confusing for guests trying to get there because of the lack of signs.
I would like the local councils to maybe help us invest in some signage outside. The roadworks go back so far, and just to see our name and to know what way to direct us in is helpful. Hospitality, you know, we all know it's on its knees at the moment, so the money we have to play with is quite small, so any help in any way is really appreciative.
Regular customers like Sonia Francis says it's important that local businesses like the Lock Keepers and the Over Farm Shop are supported.
After about 1 o'clock daytime, it's not a problem. You know, once you get from the roundabout to go down this way, it's okay. Because it's flowing, it's not a problem. You know, I would come here if I had to do an hour detour, you know, because you have to support small businesses, yes.
Fixing the bridge is a necessity, but the traffic jams it's causing are, say those who use the road, a huge inconvenience. Ken Goodwin, ITV News, Gloucester.
Well, again, let us know your thoughts, but we have had a statement from National Highways. It says, we know delays are frustrating, especially on a route as busy and important as the A40. We planned these works to balance the need to keep the route open for drivers who rely on it, whilst carrying out the works safely and minimising delays as much as possible.
Well, you're watching ITV News in the West Country with Alex and Seb.
You certainly are, and thank you for joining us this Monday evening as we kick off another week. Still ahead before 6:30. Talking of kick-off, Ross has got the sport.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Hours of practice.
Exactly, yeah. We'll be talking about all of sport and potential takeover or investments at Bristol City. Join me later on.
And young Charles is going to have the weather for us. How's it looking?
Well, we had a few spots of rain this morning, didn't we? Not much, but probably better than nothing. Big question, though, is there any more on the way this week? Find out soon.
Well, we really do need that rain, don't we?
They're such teasers.
I know. Right, let's bring you some other news tonight. And an end-of-life charity is calling for all local authorities to exempt terminally ill people from having to pay council tax. The Marie Curie charity says currently, only 27 councils offer the option, which includes Bristol City Council.
Yeah, I didn't know about this before. Marie Curie wants such a policy to be adopted countrywide because they say without it, many people in the final months of life can face severe financial hardship. Kevin Ashford reports.
Audrey Buckham had to stop working to care for her husband Eddie when he was dying from cancer. He had also had to give up his job, but the bills still had to be paid. And shortly before Eddie died, Audrey had to declare herself bankrupt. She says council tax payments were one of the most significant outgoings for them.
Council tax is the biggest bill, so that put a lot of pressure onto things. It meant, you know, if we didn't have the council tax to pay, at least that would mean that you could spend that on heating, lighting, food, you know, anything that we needed to help him, you know, equipment or anything like that. So not having that council tax bill to pay would have been a great relief to us, at least at that time it would have helped.
Audrey's local council said they would urge residents in financial difficulties to contact them. There is legislation which allows local authorities to exempt people from having to pay council tax in exceptional circumstances such as suffering a terminal illness. But according to the Marie Curie charity, only 27 in the whole of England do so. That 27 includes Bristol City Council. The charity says it wants all councils to adopt the policy.
The amount of money this costs is remarkably low, but the impact it makes on families who are struggling financially into their life is absolutely enormous. What we hear from patients ourselves is that when they're in that position struggling, they are worrying all the time about their finances. We'd like to be able to focus on their health, on their relationships, and all the things that matter to people at the end of their life.
The government told us it was up to local authorities to decide whether to offer discounts or exemptions for the terminally ill. The local government association said the same. Audrey is backing the call for a countrywide adoption of the policy, so that when families are facing the darkest of times, financial worries at least can be eased. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Right, time for the sport now as the EFL season gets underway for all our local teams.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
I still can't get over the fact that the season has started. Ross, let's first of all talk about... Oh, and welcome, by the way. Let's talk about the Bristol City big news.
Yeah, really big news, actually. I mean, we've been talking for months, actually years, I should say, about potential investments in Bristol City. The owner, Steve Lansdowne, well, he's welcomed investors and conversations around the future of the club multiple times. Well, today, news has broken that it could be closer than ever before. It comes in the form of a businessman from the betting industry who apparently came close to reaching an agreement earlier this year. I caught up with the Robin's Nest, a fan channel, about the update a little earlier on.
Well, we've had a lot of big news at Bristol City in the last few months with managerial changes and boardroom changes and stuff, but this feels like the biggest one, right? Steve Lansdowne has been the owner all of my life, so yeah, this is pretty big news. I think a lot are grateful for what Steve has done, but potentially to move us on to the next step, it might require a change. I think that's where quite a lot of the fan base sit at the moment. So if it was the right name, who it is, we obviously don't know at this stage, but if it's the right name who has some promise with them, I think a lot will be positive about it.
There'll be a lot of positivity, unnamed at this moment. Time will tell. On the pitch this weekend, defeats for both Bristol clubs and a goalless draw for Swindon, but victory for Cheltenham Town. Steve Cotterill's side could cause a few surprises this season. Tim Walsh has the roundup.
Expectations were high at Ashton Gate after a summer of change on and off the pitch. And could there be even more, with investment talk breaking today? Onto the action, Adam Randall's dismissal for 2 yellow cards 10 minutes before half-time changed the match, as within 5 minutes Millwall went ahead through Josh Coburn. And the former Bristol Rovers lone striker struck again early in the second half to make it a miserable start for new boss Michael Skubala. In League 2 there was an opening day win for Cheltenham. Ryan Broom played in Charlie McCann to give them the lead on the half hour. Rotherham equalised in the second half, but 17-year-old Leicester loanee Jake Evans came off the bench to hit a superb debut goal, a strike worthy of winning any game. Swindon picked up a point in a goalless draw at Northampton. Ollie Clark came closest to breaking the deadlock, but blazed over. Bristol Rovers slipped to defeat at York City, who are playing their first game back in the EFL after 10 years in non-league. Clinton Mola had given the Gas a first-half lead, but after the break the hosts scored twice in 4 minutes to turn the game around. Rovers levelled through Tommy Lee's penalty, but York immediately went back in front to win 3-2. In the National League, it's 2 wins from 2 for Forest Green. After conceding early at Worthing, they battled back with second-half goals from Josh Asude and Ricardo Rees to win 2-1. And Steve Walker's debut goal looked to have given Yeovil the win against Carlisle. But the Cumbrians rescued a point with a 96-minute equaliser. Tim Walsh, ITV News.
Oh, thanks, Tim. So what about the rest of the sport this weekend, Ross?
Yeah, an awful lot going on, actually. And at the Eventing World Championships in Germany, our region has played a big role in Team GB winning a gold medal. There was a fantastic final performance from Gloucestershire's Laura Collett and Gloucestershire's Tom McEwen. It is another gold medal for both of them in their cabinets after they won with their teammate Ross Cantor at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Elsewhere, we can also celebrate a silver medal at the European Championships last night. Ben Jeffries is part of Bristol and West Athletics Club in our region, but over the weekend he formed part of Team GB as they secured silver in the men's 4x400 metre relay. Yeah, well done to him. And finally, a football coach from Somerset was given a very special honour at yesterday's Community Shield match between Arsenal and Manchester City. Casey Young from Crewkern has cerebral palsy and coaches at Bristol City Cerebral Palsy Football Club twice a week as a volunteer. He was given the Disability Coach of the Year award in Cardiff and gave a guard of honour for the Manchester City and Arsenal players as they came out. Even better, he's an Arsenal fan, so he'd have been very happy with their 3-0 win in that one.
Well done, Casey. Congratulations indeed. And thank you very much, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. Right, let's catch up with the weather. I was so excited there because I think there were some signs of rain, wasn't there, Charlie?
Yeah, a few wobbles of excitement from me as well there. But yeah, a few of us saw a few sprinkles of rain this morning. And there's some kind of light green, lime green colours in here indicating some heavy bursts, but not all of us saw some. And almost as soon as it arrived, it then sort of worked its way towards the south and east, leaving us with some brighter skies again, return of some sunshine. And temperatures back up to about 27 or 28 Celsius in Merrifield, for example. So along with a bit of heat, quite a humid feel for a few of us. But not much rain, but some, and that's hopefully a sign of things to come, although a lot less blue sky. Scenes here from Royal Victoria Park in Bristol. With a bit of a breeze, didn't help things all that much today with some pretty high temperatures once again. But for most of us, certainly through this morning, a lot more cloud overhead, although still some bits of blue, but generally a bit more of a kind of chaotic look to the sky. That's probably something we'll get used to, I think, as we work our way through the next couple of days at least.
So, Charlie, will that chaos in the sky bring us any rain?
Yes, hopefully, but not too much. So this next chart here shows the accumulation over the next couple of days, right the way through until Saturday. The key on the right-hand side there It looks kind of exciting with a lot of the UK seeing some rainfall, but look closely, only between sort of 1 to 5 millimetres maybe. In some parts of the immediate Dorset coast, not seeing much at all, but some is better than none.
Today's forecast, blue skies, followed by a spread of hot and cold plates. TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
So yes, a bit of a change away from the last few weeks. That's certainly the case, with bits of rain coming through, mainly in the form of some showers, a bit more of a breeze, which will hopefully make things feel a bit fresher, particularly with temperatures on the way down a little bit as well. And we've got a lot more in the way of low pressure in charge of our pressure pattern, which is something we haven't seen for ages. A couple of fronts pushing through as well, bits of cloud, outbreaks of rain, a bit more of a breeze, and that direction's important as well from a north or northwesterly. So we are seeing a bit of a change away from what's just been dominated by high pressure for so long, although as mentioned, it turned out to be a pretty fine rest of today. It'll stay dry for much of tonight, but as one of those fronts approaches towards dawn, we'll see cloud increasing, and that will bring a little bit of wet weather, certainly the further west you are. But again, it's outbreaks of rain rather than anything too steady, and it will be another pretty mild night ahead. And then as we head through tomorrow, very similar sort of pattern to today, in that we'll see these outbreaks of rain. I think a few more of us probably will see them tomorrow morning, but once again, they move down and away towards the south and east, clearing to give us some brighter, sunnier skies. Not such a humid feel tomorrow. Temperatures perhaps not quite as high, but still quite widely up towards the mid-20s at least anyway. But that changes too as we head through the rest of this week. Temperatures will be that little bit low as we head through the second half of the week. Added to that, a few further fronts bringing the focus for a bit more wet weather. So some places seeing a bit of rainfall, but nowhere near enough, but at least it's a step in the right direction. But a fresher feel for sure, I think. And still some blue skies. Barb saw from the top of Birdlip in Gloucestershire some far-reaching views. That's one thing we've seen quite a lot of. Despite there being high pressure, we haven't had a lot of kind of really poor visibility days, so we have been gifted with some pretty glorious scenes across the region.
TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
I was only in Birdlip yesterday. Charlie, thank you very much.
You might be in that picture somewhere.
Oh, somewhere in the
just
distance.
back with your dog.
Tiny distance. That's it from us. I'll have the late news for you at 10:30.
After the break, the ITV news continues as ever tonight with Mary, but from all of us here, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.